Well, today I'm delighted to be joined by Quantify Technologies' Brett Saville. Brett, thanks for joining me from your home studio.
Thanks very much indeed, Sarah. It's great to be with you in these.
Very much so. Now, Brett, these are pretty unprecedented times right now. Firstly, how are you going and how's your family?
We're fine, thank you very much. I'm in Sydney now. Most of the business is in Perth, so I'm not going to be visiting there for a few months.
Yeah.
And fortunately, none of our family have got sick, so we're coping well.
Now, Quantify as a whole, how has the business stood up over the last few weeks?
We've been exceptionally fortunate that we raised capital over at Christmas. What that means is that we've got cash on the balance sheet, and so our aim is really to conserve that cash as we go through these uncertain times and come out of it stronger on the other side. The team they're all technology experts, so they have no problems working from home. And over here in Sydney, the building sites are still running, so there are still meetings taking place, either face-to-face if they absolutely have to, or else on the phone or in video conference.
Now, just this week, it's obviously still business as usual, and there was an announcement that went out, Brett, this week regarding a major contract signing with a New South Wales builder. Can you tell us more?
Sure. Dilkara are a top-end builder. We have been talking to them for a number of months now, since before Christmas, and we're absolutely delighted that they've signed up for a 3-year exclusive deal with us, very similar to the one that we did with Black Projects, who are also in New South Wales, and 3 Optic Group, who are in the ACT. So what this means is that we will be doing exclusive work for them and be their exclusive technology partner of choice, with Harvey Norman handling the sales and the installation. And started off with an order of about 450,000, which is for 36 top-end apartments in Sydney.
Yeah, fantastic. It's a big milestone. Now, I understand you've also put out an announcement regarding just a general business update, and you mentioned earlier around the cap raise, but what are some of those key foundational activities and milestones that Quantify are doing to weather this storm and certainly, planning for the next few months ahead?
So we put out a trading update, which essentially talked about sales. We still have a strong pipeline. Feedback from our distributors like Harvey Norman is that there is a lot of activity going on. There is uncertainty, but there's a lot of activity still going on. So they still see upside and they still see sales being delivered. Mm-hmm. We talked then about strengthening the platform. So one of the things that you and I have talked about, Sarah, is the fact that we need to be integrated with as many other third-party platforms as possible. So we've integrated Control 4. We're doing the final testing, and hopefully we will be in a position shortly to be able to be selling that directly into the market. Control 4 is exciting because it's probably the largest smart home automation platform in the world. And certainly in WA, they've got 55 installers and distributors. So it's a big new market for us, which will really open up the retrofit market as well as the new build market. And finally, obviously, costs. Whilst we have a good pipeline, we have a strong pipeline, and we're strengthening the platform, it clearly doesn't make sense to continue to spend money unnecessarily. So in terms of staff, we've asked the staff to step back and work a 4-day week, and we'll review that on a regular basis depending on the pipeline and the orders. And at the same time, we're generally looking at all of our costs and trying to ensure that we optimize them so that we don't compromise our ability to grow, but that we have enough cash to take us through this crisis.
Now, Brett, just before we move ahead in terms of what, the next 6 months, no one has a crystal ball, obviously, and we don't know what it's going to look like, but you put out a very interesting note recently regarding the role that Google and the role of smart home automation is having to play and contribute in these times. What's been your experience and feedback over the last few weeks in terms of the general interest around the role that smart home technology plays?
I think everyone knows that what's happened with coronavirus means that we've changed forever. And one of the ways in which we've changed in that even when we get through this, we will still be far, far more cautious about infections. One of the great things about Google and Amazon and any sort of voice activation is it reduces the amount of physical contact you need with switches. And whilst you may think that this is not going to be a major issue in your own home, if you're in a nursing home or an NDIS facility. What it does effectively is it means that there are fewer opportunities to pass infections on, either from one resident to another, from a resident to a carer or vice versa, or from a cleaner or just a loved one going to visit. So we've been very interested in the way that the big tech giants have picked up on this, and we've started having conversations with all our partners about it, because we think that there is a permanent change now in the way we think about infection, and people will feel an increasing need to try and focus on what actions can I take today that will reduce infection for the long term.
Absolutely. Now, what's next, Brett?
Well, very much in line with the trading update. We have a solid pipeline. We know that there is uncertainty out there, but we also know that most of the building sites are continuing, at least in the short term. So we will be delivering on those contracts that we've got in place, and hopefully the new ones as well. We will continue to expand the platform. So we will move from Control 4 in a beta version through to Control 4 being sold. And we will continue to deepen our relationship with our distributors like Harvey Norman. And finally, we will manage our costs. So what we've calculated at today's rate is, even if we had no sales, we would be able to get through to the final quarter of the year. And it's certainly my intention to do that. Our aim is to keep our staff and our partners as safe as possible, and at the same time preserve the cash so that we can get through this crisis and come out stronger on the other side.
Absolutely. Well, all good plan ahead there. Brett, thank you very much for joining me today, and stay safe, stay sanitised, and we look forward to more updates from the team at Quantify soon.
Thank you, Sarah, and all the best to you and the team at Hot Copper.
Thank you.